Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video. Welcome to Moscow. Now, in my forever search to find the Russian typical supermarket, I thought I'd show you around Perekrestok. Now the store's right behind me. We're going to wander in and check it out. Perekrestok, the supermarket chain, has just on 1,000 supermarkets across Russia. Now, does this look like a typical area where supermarkets would be? This is actually the largest furniture retailer in all of Russia. It's actually a homewares market made up of about 2,000 different retailers over 6 levels. This place is absolutely huge. And this is not anywhere near any homes or houses or dachas, but they put a supermarket in this homewares center. Now this is called Romantsova Business Park. I've actually been here before to make the video of Good Luck, which is the kind of scaled down version of IKEA, but I thought I'd show you this supermarket because it's super interesting. What makes the place more interesting for me is the fact that it's nowhere near any residential houses. There is literally nobody living within around about 10 kilometers of this place. And all that you'll find at this business park is homeware stores. So anywhere from buying nuts and bolts and screws, right the way through to getting your kitchen designed, buying furniture, and anything humanly possible for your house is in Romantsova Business Park. If you've watched some of my other videos before, you might see on the supermarket tours, there isn't very much in the way of pharmaceutical items. Very typically, there is an Anteka or a pharmacy in spitting distance of a supermarket. So the supermarkets tend to focus more on food, groceries, and everything but pharmacy items, because there's that many pharmacies in Russia. You don't need to worry about it. And this is Perekrestok. Now, if you translate the words into English, it means crossroads. And if you convert it into French, it's Carrefour. And it actually has no relevance to the French company whatsoever. Now, the one thing with this supermarket, which is pretty neat, is they've got plastic shopping trolleys. So they don't rust and they last a lot longer. Now, they have them tucked away, but what's the main one that you tend to use when you come into the store is these pull carts. And we might see a few people with them here, but this is the more typical way that you would do your shopping. Keep in mind we are in a business park or in a homeware center. And this place is open 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. every day. You just can't eat ice creams inside, no riding your bicycle, and no using rollerblades. Perhaps you might want to work at Perekrestok. They've actually got a sign right here, and they've got the advertising. If you want to get a job, give them a call. I think they're always looking for staff, but let's have a wander through. Now, this is what I would call a typical supermarket, but a lot of people maybe put this in a little bit of a higher bracket than other smaller chain supermarkets. There's 1,000 of these in Russia. And what do we see when we walk in? Wine, Aperol, and chocolates. Right as we walk in. I'm not sure what they're advertising for, but there is a nice selection here of fresh fruits and vegetables. Very much all the normal things you'll find in Russian supermarkets. Now we're slowly heading out of melon season and we're heading towards grape season, and the prices are starting to come down a little bit. If you're wondering if Russians like healthy food, there is a health food section right here with some different types of snacks, mostly fruits, fruits, chocolates, but there is some element of healthy healthiness to the food right here. If you're wondering if Russia has the gossip magazines, they definitely do. There's a few right here, and then there's also the crossword puzzles down the bottom, and then some newspapers. One of the things that Perekrestok really values in their supermarkets is their fresh food. So of course, fruits and vegetables. And as we walk around a little bit further, we're going to see fresh food and cooked food and ready to eat food. Have a look at the nectarines and peaches right now. These look very nice. At home we've actually got some peaches right on our kitchen table, so these look really good. If you've been following the news in the last few weeks, you'll probably know that the dollar has been falling against the ruble, or maybe it's been increasing depending on which way you're transferring money. But roughly today it's about 96 rubles for $1 US. So it's pretty easy to do the translation of the prices. Just move the decimal point over. Oh, there's a few watermelons still here. Bananas. Mandarins are going to start coming very soon. And this is kind of neat. They've actually got the cut fruit as well. So if you don't want to take a whole watermelon, you can just get a part of a watermelon. How nice is that? As I'm walking around, I want you to maybe comment in the bottom of the video, is this similar to a supermarket where you live? Is the selection the same? Is the amount of choices the same? There's a lot of people who have commented on previous videos that the assortment is a lot less where they live, particularly in Europe and in America, but please let me know in the comments how you would compare this to where you live. The one thing with the fruit and vegetables in this store is there isn't the full choice like when you go to one of the hypermarkets. They've got a more condensed selection, but they've got nice choices. You can see here peppers, and then different types of tomatoes. So they really have everything that you need in this fruit and veg section. They have a small variety section as well. I just noticed this as I walked in. So you can get some water wings, you can buy Lego, and you can even buy a watering can. I never realized Perekrestok had such variety beyond food. I am going to try and show you as much as I can of the store. Of course, the videos get much longer when I point out more things. Here are some different oils and lots of choices of ketchups. Now, do you call it ketchup? Do you call it red sauce? Do you call it tomato sauce? Seems to be so many different names for it around the world. Here are some different pasta sauces, and even there's different types of mayonnaise. In Russia, people love mayonnaise and all the different versions of it. Here's some finishing sauces, and then over here there are different olive oils and cooking oils, and then also lots of types of salmon and tuna and canned fish. So there is an absolute variety of stuff in this supermarket. Walking around to the baby food section, there was a lot of talk last year that there won't be any brands of baby foods in Russia. And we can see here quite clearly Nestle is taking up this whole section. And there's also Heinz here as well. And then on this side, all of the diapers or nappies, depending on what word everybody uses. I really like the fact that there's so many types of words that you can reference the same thing. Here's all the baby foods, these sippy type ones, and different drinks. And who knew you could even buy yourself a swimming pool in a supermarket in a business center. This aisle has mostly long life milks. Parmalat is here in Russia, $1.14. So roughly, if you work out at about 96 rubles today to the dollar, if you kind of use the 100 rule, you just move the decimal place over, and give or take a few cents. It's close to 100 rubles. This is the breakfast cereal section. There is very limited amounts of breakfast cereals in Russia. It's not something that is typical, as I like to use that word a lot. A lot of people prefer oats and mueslis and different grains, porridges, and this is more popular as a breakfast food than sugary cornflakes or Kellogg's type foods. There's also some health food bars here, and then some nuts. Does anybody use health food bars? I've tried them a couple of times and just never got into them. Just the taste for me. I think there's certain ingredients lacking that my body needs. I was recently reading an article in Russia about the price of food right now, and there's a lot of emphasis on socially important food items, which are considered as staple food items. You know, I don't think nuts, fruits and seeds are that, but if we look over here, there is flour, and for a kilo of flour, 64 rubles, so less than $1 for a kilo of flour. Maybe you can compare this to where you live. 120 rubles for 2 kilos. So if you want to just move that decimal point over, $1.20 or 64 cents. Here is the dairy section. And there's some yogurts right here. And then the other yogurt section. These are the drinkable yogurts. I'm getting right into these drinkable yogurts recently, and this is the one that I have. They don't have the strawberry one here, but 70 cents. And I'm not sure Tios. I think this might be a European brand, not Russian produced. Viola. So there's a lot of types of yogurts. And then over here, we've got milks, plenty of choices of milks. I'm always a bit confused when I come to shop for milk because there is too many choices. Most of the time you tend to buy it based on the fat content. So 70 cents for a bottle of milk. That's the normal one that we buy, 2.5%. But there is a lot more choices. Another staple food of Russia is eggs. And the in-house box of eggs, 55 cents. This is actually for 10 eggs, so just keep that in mind. A lot of places around the world have dozen box eggs. In Russia, they're in a box of 10. If you want the slightly bigger ones, right on $1 for a carton of eggs. Maybe in the comments, let me know what you're paying where you live. 20 eggs. Just a little over $2. Now I am using the US dollar as an exchange currency. The US dollar and the euro is quite similar. Here is more yogurts, by the way. Yogurts everywhere. And when my wife tells me, Russell, go and buy yogurts, and there is like 70 different choices. This is also the mayonnaise that's refrigerated. And these come in every flavor you possibly like. Not just plain mayonnaise. Yes, talking about the exchange rate, so the euro and the dollar is quite similar. Penny for penny right now, or cent for cent. You know, this is the one thing that's quite interesting in any supermarket I come to, is how little frozen food there is. There is a few doors right here, and then there's these coffin freezers. Now, I worked in supermarkets and these were called coffin freezers. And then we used to call these door freezers because they've got a door on them. There's pizza. There's a few frozen vegetables. This right here is the ice cream. Bounty flavored ice cream. Oh, this looks very nice. And this is BR and Ice, which is Baskin Robbins, which is now called BR and Ice, but it's the same thing. Another staple food or ingredient for cooking would be sugar. Now, if anybody remembers back nearly 2 years ago now, there was those viral videos of people grabbing it off the shelves and grabbing it off the carts as they were putting on display. And there is more than enough in stock. These are actually the sugar cubes that we like to buy. So this is a kilo of sugar cubes for $1.10. That's the one that we buy mostly. You just drop them in your tea or coffee, and you can use them for cooking as well, making cakes. Here is pastas. Now, we just buy the Barilla brand, but there is plenty of other types if you want kind of inexpensive. 70 cents for a pack of pasta. Barilla here, depending on the type that you want, $1 or $1.20. And there's every type of Barilla you could possibly imagine. I didn't show salt. I was just trying to get that right, and I thought in my head I said it wrong. The half kilo one, 64 cents. And there's the bigger box down here for 38 cents for a kilo. You know, this would be something you just take out and put into another container. Lots of choices of salt as well. In the comments of the video, please let me know what you're paying for something where you live. Now, of course, everybody's prices in the whole world will differ a lot depending on the economy and where something is produced and manufactured, but I think it'll be interesting for everybody to read some of the pricing of classic food products like salt, sugar, milk and things like that. So please let me know in the comments some of the prices where you are. I feel like as I'm walking around, the store seems very quiet. Now, as I've been filming, everywhere I've stopped, there's been people looking at the exact shelf that I'm filming. And I've come down the personal care aisle here, and there's not really the rush of people buying things in here. A lot of ladies, particularly like my wife, she does a lot of this shopping online and orders things for delivery rather than coming into the store and spending time looking at all the different choices and items. This looks just like a shelf in Australia in the supermarkets where I was working. There is very little difference. Even a lot of the Western brands that are in Australia are here in Russia as well. One of the famous things that are very cheap in Russian supermarkets is toilet paper. And this is the kind of classic roll that you'll find in a lot of places where you use a public bathroom. Now, I don't really recommend buying this for your house, but 15 cents for a roll. There is more than enough choices of normal branded toilet papers. Now, we generally use Ziwa. Now, it's not on special here, but I'll just show Papilla because this one's on promotion. 8 rolls for $1.70. This yellow plaque here means that you just need to use the in-house supermarket card and then you get the discounted price. But there is lots of choices. I tend to shop around sometimes to find the brand that we use all the time. So one store or the other will have the specials. This store has a very nice wine and alcohol selection. A lot of people would very typically shop for alcohol and wine in separate standalone stores. But of course this Perekrestok, you can buy anything and everything in this one store. Now, the one thing that I did want to show you is Jack Daniel's right here. I've actually got a bit of a mixed display right here of different items and products. There's Mexican fruit juices down there. Jack Daniel's for just about $20 a bottle. That one's a 700 ml bottle. There's Dominican rum, $13 a bottle for Barcelo. How cheap is that? Something else that's very popular in all Russian supermarkets is different types of water. So this aisle is split up into gassy water and non-gassy water. That's how I like to call it. That's how they call it here. Do you want water with or without gas? And just the amount of choice of water I find it interesting. Definitely in Australia we don't have this many choices. And you come into this supermarket and you're even spoilt for choice. This is something I'm drinking a little bit at the moment. I know it's not really particularly healthy, but 65 cents. They've got strawberry flavored water, apple flavor, and lemon flavored water. Walking around the wine section, I was hoping to find some Australian wine. They've actually got the wines set up here. Reds on the left, white wines on the right. And what they do have, they've got these flags. So if you know your geography, France, Italy, Spain, Germany. I think this is Portugal. Now, I did notice up here, they've got the New Zealand flag and some New Zealand wines. These aren't particularly cheap if you were to compare the price, but considering we're in Russia, in a supermarket, you can buy New Zealand wine right on the shelf. Plenty of choices of rosés and champagnes, and then all of the different red wines. Again, separated by country. You can see down the aisle there the different country markers and the choices. It's a very well stocked wine section. Here is the liqueurs, and I always find it strange that Fireball is considered a liqueur in Russia, but it's a cinnamon whiskey, which is actually made in Canada. At Fireball, Aperol, there was Malibu right there, and they've even got a nice rum section. Now, please tell me where you live. Can you buy absinthe? Now, I'm sure most people in Europe can get it, but in a lot of countries, it's not considered legal because of the hallucinogenic qualities of it. A nice selection of rum. There's Bacardi Ocat, plantation rum. If you want a good rum, have a look for this Barbados rum plantation. This is a nice drink. If you want something a little bit nicer quality than a classic mixable rum. This is brandies, cognacs, armagnacs, and then we of course will have a nice big selection of vodkas. There is lots of choices. Let's have a look. I don't know a lot of these brands, but $11 for a bottle of vodka, $12 Siberian Express. There's only a few different brands that I know that are sold internationally. A lot of these will be domestic products. The whiskies. The best-selling whiskey in Russia is William Lawson. By a long way, they've also got the most shelf space as well. Jim Beam, Red Stag. So just about $22 a bottle for the 700ml bottles. Maker's Mark, $35. And they've got a few single malts. Again, this isn't a normal way that people would buy alcohol. Very, very typically people would go to a standalone alcohol shop and buy beer, alcohol, spirits, wines. But this store, of course, prides itself on having absolutely everything in the one store. Finally, I've made it around to the fresh food section. It's in the back corner of the store. And this store has got approximately 35% of the store taken up by fresh foods. Cheeses, and lots of cheeses. Then there's different hams and sausages. So all of these stores and most of the supermarkets that I go to have the butcher in the store, or the people that actually cook the food, or the fishmonger. Here is different smoked fish. This is very nice with some beer. Saturday afternoon. They've even got an aquarium back there with live fish. And then some nice salmon and whole fish. The butcher right here with all the different meats. And how convenient, they've got the beer fridge right here next to the meats. And there's even a caviar fridge. This is all the premium caviars right here with the anti-theft containers attached with them. There's only a few in here. For caviars, when my wife buys it, she'll tend to buy it seasonally. She'll go to a specific store that has it versus coming to supermarkets. Here's all the packaged meats. So these would actually come from an off-site location to the store. And then the fresh meats will all be prepared in the store. They have a nice selection too of different meats that have been marinated. So if you want something for barbecuing or cooking, this is the foods. And if you want the heat and eat, literally take that home, warm it up, and you've got lunch or dinner. They have also fresh sushi. I think these are done in the store. Now, I'm a little bit later on in the afternoon here, so a lot of the prepared food is already out and ready. Some chicken wings. Not only do they have the cooked foods, they've also got plenty of different choices of salads. There's also potatoes, pastas. So you can get a lot of choices of ready-made meals. You know, I even have started doing this myself, where I go to the stores, buy the food like this, take it home, heat it and eat it, and no cooking. And the prices are very reasonable. It's not higher prices because it's cooked food. It's not that much more than making it yourself. I just noticed next to the ready-made foods, they've got a grab-and-go drink fridge. So there's some beers, water. There is some flavored water here with different things inside. But down here they've got Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper. These are actually from Azerbaijan. So you can still walk in the stores and buy the very well-known cool drinks. There's more prepared food in the fridges here. Lots of types of sandwiches, pastas, rice, vegetable dishes. These are all pre-made and ready to serve. This store also has its own in-house bakery. They do everything at the back there, behind the roller door. We've also got donuts. So all these pastries will be done in-house. And the bread. And then the French sticks. I think these are just called bread sticks. I like to call them French sticks. The classic bread right here. 50 cents for a unsliced loaf of bread. And most of the pastries are under 50 cents, depending on the different choices. These scrolls, 59 cents, 69 cents. If you're into your fancy breads or different grain breads, they also have the loaves as well. 56 cents for a unsliced loaf. These brown breads, I'm not sure of the names of these, 60 cents. This is the other focaccia type, 44 cents. And then they've also got the bread that's made off-site. Now most of these are actually half loaves. They don't really make bread in whole loaves in Russia. They're just smaller loaves, good for a few days worth of eating. If you're going to buy a whole loaf and not finishing it, well, what's the point of really buying it? This is the part of the store that gets me all the time, and my wife gets very upset when I buy lots of these different chocolate biscuits and wafers and waffles. There is too much choice of sweet treats in Russia. There is literally aisle after aisle of them. Nutella still here, $3 for the small one. The big one, almost $8. And there's even a Milka one. Does anybody use chocolate spreads? As I keep walking around, I really hope you're finding this video interesting and fun. Kind of video about a supermarket be fun. I hope you're finding it just interesting, showing the variety and the amount of choices of food in this Russian typical supermarket, which is typical to me, but just the fact that it's in a business center near a main highway, not anywhere close to housing. Somebody recommended in another video that I look in these pay-by-weight chocolate boxes for Kit Kats. It seems to be all the other snacks, but there is no Kit Kats. Lots of Russian brands. So these ones you just grab a handful or as much as you like in a plastic bag, and it's pay by weight. And then over here is all of the luxury chocolates and lots of what I would call imported chocolates and things that aren't necessarily produced in Russia. There is a lot of choices. And then the different bar chocolates, also lots of choices. This is the one that I like right here. It's called Bubbly Banana. It's Milka chocolate with banana, and it is delicious. Anyone's had it before, I'm sure you'll tell me the same thing. German chocolate, Ritter. Lots of choices. This is the thing with these supermarkets. There is too much chocolate, snacks and sweets, in my opinion. But this is how almost every Russian supermarket looks. We come around to the honey section and jams. Most people in Russia would probably have a family member or a friend who makes their own jams, particularly in summertime, from their dacha. So there's not that many choices, but there is still plenty to pick from. And then we have the aisle of teas, and pretty much a tea in any flavor you can dream of. And then coffees and more coffees. And again, every flavor of a brand of coffee as well. There is lots of choices. And I'm trying to go a little bit slower as I walk around. I'm not specifically showing everything and the prices, but there's all the different pod coffees here. There was obviously a point where some of the brands disappeared and some of the brands are now back. So where do they go to? I'm not sure. Lavazza. We have this one when I was living in Australia. It's actually a really nice coffee selection. This is why people really love Perekrestok, is for the choice. You can come in here and find what you want, versus going to a smaller store that may not have the assortment. This shop, you're going to find what you need without a problem. Washing detergents here on the right hand side. There's lots of choices. This is something that I don't go and buy, but my wife asked me to, because I'll more than likely buy the wrong one. These are all the different cleaning products, bleaches, Domestos. I know this is the one that my wife always uses. And then the different room sprays, things for bathrooms. The Domestos brand again. I think this is everywhere in the world, no matter where you go. This is kind of interesting. On one side, Coca-Cola. This is actually from Kazakhstan, the Coca-Cola. And Coronas. One thing that is different in Russia is you buy beer by the individual bottle, not by the six-pack. and a couple of very well-known international brands right at the entrance of the store. I think every supermarket in the world has the candy and chewing gum right at the checkout. But you have a few different choices in Russia, so along with candy, there is also coffee. These are the single serve sachets. There's a quick grab ice cream fridge, and right here you can get beer right out of the fridge. And the one thing that is very interesting is, in most cases, the cost of a beer in Russia is less than the price of a can of cool drink. So 60 cents, 64 cents, 60 cents for most of the beers. And you just grab one of these, walk on out and have a drink. If Coca-Cola said they've left Russia, they haven't taken away their signage from the shelves. This is one of their fridges right here at the exit. And the Dobra Cola, which is the Coca-Cola, is 80 cents. It's actually more expensive than a can of beer. Is that the same way you live in the world? Please let me know. Is a can of beer cheaper, or a soft drink or cool drink? As I make my way out, they've got the normal registers. They've also got the express ones. This is what I do like about some of the supermarkets in Russia too. They've got these mini martinis here, and you can get yourself a mini martini to go, or a mini bottle of Prosecco. I think it's super interesting that they've got them right at the fridge as you leave the store. Okay everybody, we've come to the end of the video as I walk on out of Perekrestok. I just need to navigate my way out of this place. They've got these lines on the floor that I can use to find the exits, because it's a massive building. Really, it's somewhere you could spend the entire day, especially if you're coming to do house remodeling or wanting to choose new furniture. There is entire floors of beds or different sofas, tables. It's just on another level, this romance of a business park. I really hope you found the video interesting and it was insightful into what a Russian typical supermarket looks like right now in 2023. I've got a bit of a walk to go here. I hope some of the pricing was helpful to make a comparison against where you live. This is the very famous Ilonka chocolate shop. Pretty much the most famous chocolate that doesn't get eaten by Russians. It gets taken on holiday and given away to all your friends and family and relatives when you leave the country. There's very few people, I think, who buy it and eat it right here in Moscow. Yeah, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. That'll be super nice. If you want to see more videos like this, also let me know. Do you want to see more supermarket videos? You want to go to shopping centers? Do you want to see apartment tours? As I walk past a very big electronics store here. This has got all the different phones, computers, fridges, anything you need. And I'm slowly heading on out of here. I put another video for you to watch after this one. It's going to come up on the screen. Perhaps you want to go look at the IKEA store that's in this shopping center, the Good Lack store. I'll put that as the next video for you to watch, and you can stay on the channel and see something different. I'm heading on out of here, and I'm off on another adventure. Bye everybody. Bye.